Hi everyone, it's Laura from Grain & Co. and today I'm here with August's Creative Maker Box. So let's get started. There's a lot of pieces in here, so I thought I would go through and we'll separate into different piles for the different color because it just makes it easier once we get started. So for staining, we've got our base here. We've got our front and back panels to our wheelbarrow. We'll have our handle. I have our sign that hangs in the front, and you will have these little teeny tiny hooks. These will be in your bag with your leaves, so we will need to stain those, as well as we need to stain some of this. So once we get going, we'll stain just a certain section here. We will have to flip it over and do some of the back. And on this one, we will be staining the back and the bottom part. So we'll have those close by. The next bits with your pieces, we will have, so these are pieces that will be in your pumpkin spice color, so the orange one. So you'll have this pumpkin, the oval to go in front of it, and then this is the accent piece that goes along with the piece that goes there. So that's your orange. So if you put that in a pile, sometimes even putting your paint color with it is great. These are your extra white pieces. So your white pumpkin with its front, and then this piece is the one that goes along with the white pumpkin there. So we will put those off to the side. The center of your tire is also, or wheel is white, so you can put that as well there. And then this piece is your cast iron, so it goes there as well. What's next? We've got a handle. That is your stone color, your gray color, so you can put that one there. And we've got this piece is your butternut, which is the yellow. It will go in this section here, as well as we have a couple of leaves that will accent in the front. So make sure they're both facing in the same direction. They're exactly the same, so those will be your butternut as well. And let's see what else we've got. So khaki. Khaki will be your hello fall words, as well as the leaf shape that goes in that direction. Okay, so that's that one. And then nutmeg, I don't have a little tiny one, I just have my bottle. So it will be two leaves. They are exactly the same again in that direction. So that will be your nutmeg. So let's get started with the stain. We don't have to stain every little bit, so all of that, the ½ ounce of stain we have will be more than enough. So I don't want to stain above this, so I want to put some tape there because it's just harder to cover with the white when we get stain underneath it. So we're just gonna take some tape and go right across because I want a clean line. And then you can just run your finger on that. Don't run it around to the back because we'll have to stain that side as well. So, okay, so I know I need to do this one. Just going to double check because sometimes I forget exactly where this is going. Okay, so this will go here. So as you can see, that lines up here in the top corner and down the side. So really we only have this beam, like pretend there's a beam here or a skinny piece. We're just gonna stain in here and down on this brace and this leg here because that's all we need for that. Hold on, yeah, that one's like that. Okay, when we flip it over, we will, hold on. I always get this one not lined up correctly. Hold on a second. Hold on, I gotta do it with this one in place. Okay, so that one goes like that, and that one goes like that. So then we'll have to stain all of this because there's nothing in the back that covers that. And as you can see, we've got a little bit that peeks out from here. So we're gonna pretty much just run a line of stain here and then down the side because everything else will be covered. Okay, so let's get going. And because we're dry brushing the front, we want a little bit of stain there as well. So okay, so I'm just gonna carefully dip my brush because you don't want to waste any of this, and just gonna not dipping too much at a time because okay, so that's the front. Give that a wipe. If it's not perfect, it won't matter because we're going to dry brush it anyways. I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to run a little bit here. You really won't see this side as much as you'll see the other side, but you will see this part here. So just go in there like that, and that should be enough. Okay, so that one's done. Flip that over. Now this one, we're doing the good side. Double check it. I always do. Okay, good side. Yeah, so we're doing this side. Hold on. I don't think I see any of that other side. Hold on. Yeah, that one's all covered up. So you can see when we face it the other way, there's nothing showing from the other side like we did. So we are just going to flip this over. Gonna put some on here. Flip this over and just run a little bit here, just when it's that other piece sits inside after it just looks finished. Okay, so that one's done too. Okay, so let's grab our wheelbarrow and just come in here and do this part. Here, and I knew there was something I was going to forget to tell you as I did this, so I will tell you here in a second. Now if you're unsure or remember where to go, you're going to just check that out there, so we'll need to go up a little higher over here. So I might just come in and bring this all the way up to the top. Okay. Give this one a wipe. Now, the wood for the laser is, sometimes I wonder how they manufacture their wood, because sometimes it's a real pain. So every time I cut, it seems like their wood just slightly gets bigger, thicker and thicker and thicker. And so I set the laser for one setting so it fits in the slot, but sometimes by the end they have, every sheet is different. So you're going to find that this might not fit in there very well, and it really is just micro little bit. So what you're going to want to do is just take some sandpaper and sand on both sides a little bit. You don't have to do very much, and then check to make sure it fits back in that slot. Same with this side. I did mine prior to getting on here, and I meant to show you in the video. So we're gonna sand here on both sides, just enough, just above that notch area, because that's all that it needs to fit into there. And this one, you're not having to go too far, because even though they're lined up and this one can go down deeper. It really is only going to be able to go down so far, not even down into fully the second piece. So you could probably go up like a 1/2 inch and sand on both sides, and keep checking after, you know, a few swipes on each side to see. I mean, you're gonna have to sand anyways when you're doing the stain, but so you can do it then, but you just might wear away some of that color a little bit. But yeah, so that's gonna need to be done as well. Okay, so let's get on to this. We're gonna do the fronts, the tops on both of these pieces. Okay, and to save yourself some stain, you can see that there's not very much that needs to be done here. So if we go in and take our brush and just run an edge like that. I mean, if you're doing well in your stain and you have enough, you can. I just want you to make sure, some of you guys, some, not everyone, and not even you guys, can be a little heavy in your stain application. So I want you to just make sure that you have enough stain. So just do that, because once you cover it, you're never gonna see it. So that part is done there. Just gonna put that there. Okay, handle. We're gonna do both sides, but we don't have to do so much where that handle part is, because we will be covering it up with one more piece. So you can avoid that. We're gonna flip this over, and we will have to do the whole thing because we only have that extra piece in the front. So that will be taken care of there. Okay. This piece, we're gonna do the whole thing. And if you have enough, you can do the back, but you won't see it because it will be hanging from the front of the wheelbarrow. So don't forget your little pieces here. Them off. It's such a mess here. Okay, so then we're going to come in here and carefully do this. Okay, and then we're going to flip this over and do the whole back. So this is the side that really needs a lot of stain. So you want to definitely make sure you've left yourself enough. Okay, so now, I forgot on this side, we need to do the tops of our pumpkins. So just come in here. That one, it will have a full pumpkin, so you won't need that one. This one and this one. So these are the three that we will paint on here. So those are those ones. You will need to come in here and grab this one. You don't have to be so perfect because you'll have that oval that comes in the center. And then we've got this one here. And I think I got them all now. Yeah, actually I'm going to also just come in down here and stain this bottom, because even though the tire sits here, I always like to have that tab finished, just in case a little bit peeks out the top. So, okay, I think that's it. And if you got any stain left and you really want to go at it and cover the backs of everything, then go right ahead. But I wanted to make sure that you did not go super crazy and then left yourself without any extra stain. Okay, so I'm gonna let those dry, because once we start doing some color, we'll need to remove that tape and start painting there. So I'll be back shortly, and then we will continue on with the next color. Okay, see you soon, guys. Guys, I'm back now. I've sanded all of my stain pieces, only just because I wanted to get all of that dust off my table. So I've done all that. I accidentally sanded this one, which usually when I'm dry brushing, I leave, but I was getting a little carried away, so that it's fine. It'll still dry brush just fine. So now we're gonna work on our white. So we'll have, where did I put my pile? So we'll have our pumpkins, or that one pumpkin with its front piece there. We'll have the inner part of the wheel, and then we'll have the other part to the pumpkin here. We'll have the dry brush, and then we're gonna need to go in and do this pumpkin in here. So we'll get our dry brushing done out of the way first, and then we can go back and do the painting. So I'm just gonna pour a little bit in here. And you're gonna want your 2-inch brush, or whatever brush you prefer for your dry brushing. I just like the 2-inch. And let's get started there. Oh, I can tell I already didn't load this up very well. Okay, here we go. So remember, light wispy brush strokes as you approach the board, and then as you run out, you can push a little bit harder. You can turn your brush on the side. I know you guys are all pros now because we've done it so much. And so remember, you don't want to use all of this paint, but a little does go a long way when we're doing the other bits. There we go. Now we will come back and do the edges. We just want to get this started here. And sometimes when you got those little holes, it tends to catch and drag that paint. So you can just feather it out a bit, and we'll go back the other way, and it'll catch a little bit that way too. Now remember, in this area, you're gonna have that sign hanging. So if you're finding you don't like something particular in that area, you remember this is gonna be covered right in that space. So, all right, well that is kind of dry. I'm just gonna come in here and take my brush. come in and make sure to blend those sides that we did when we do those edges. Okay, I think I'm good for now. I just want to make sure that I've left myself enough paint to do the rest, and if I feel like I need to do more, then I will come back and do it, but I think I'm okay. Okay, so I'll set that there. And I'll just put my brush in a bag just in case I need to do some more. Okay, so if you're coming back on your area where you're painting, just make sure you have nothing wet so it stains the back of your pumpkins here. Now, I don't want my paint going below this part, so I'm going to tape this as well. Can have a nice clean line in my when it sits in the wheelbarrow. So okay, so let's get started on here. Now I'm going to use a brush because I want to be able to keep that, I want to be able to get in here a little bit better instead of just, I mean, I could overlap this, but I want to just be careful how much paint I'm putting in there. So this is what we're doing because these ones will go right into there. So actually, where is my foam wedge? Do I even have any foam wedges at home? Oh yeah, you know what I do. Hold on, guys. Okay, I did one. So you just want to be careful though when you're coming up into here that you're not getting any paint on that. So you can brush, you can sponge, it's really up to you. The coats you do with the brush will tend to be heavier, like in terms of the sponge, so you may have to do 3 on the ones with the sponge. I don't think I sanded this one, so. Okay. So let me start, actually, you know what, I'll just sponge the whole thing. Okay, and so there's no need to blot all that extra off because we can use it in here. So just, oh, see, I stuck my finger in there already. I knew that was gonna happen. Hold on a second. I'll find my makeup, or my baby wipes. Fingers are dirty. Here we go. Let's wash my hands here. Okay, so in here we don't need to go too far in. Just gonna blend it there, but make sure you go down far enough just in case when you're overlapping it's not perfect. I do notice that her marks aren't the same as everybody else's. Where's this piece? So that way, as you can see, well, once I pull the tape off, sometimes you can see that dead space there. So yeah, make sure you're coming in here. I don't actually have to do this curve part, or you can do it with the brush. There we go. Okay, so there's that one for now. Let's do this one. You probably don't have to do the middle, but sometimes it's hard to stop. Okay, so this piece would go in there, so that's what you'll want to do. And now we'll do this one. And then we've got these two. Okay. That one. That one. Okay, so I'm gonna let those dry. It's really warm here today, guys, so it won't take long. So I've got extra sponges laying around here, so I'm just gonna grab another color and do that one. So let's do, let's see. You wanna watch? We'll do, we can do butternut because it's far enough away on there. So grab your yellow. And then we'll need this pile too. And I'm just going to, well, first of all, I'm going to start with my lid. And I like to cut my lid off so that way it's not going to topple over on me. And I'm just going to use what I got in here. And let's start it right here. All right, now I can dump some out. There we go. Okay, let's come in here. So especially this one, and I know I missed my white, okay. So down here, you really gotta watch where those three pumpkin curves, so that's why you gotta come down far enough there. And I forgot to go a little further on my white, so I'm just gonna come back here in a second. And where's my piece? Yeah, okay. So on here, big pumpkin. So you see this curve here underneath this? Just take your sponge and go down there, because that is, I realized when I did it the first time that wasn't part of the orange one, it was part of the white one. So same with this one. You'll want to come and think of it as the full pumpkin with the three bumps down at the bottom. All right, so we'll cover up more yellow after. So I'm going to set that there. And now let's do these ones. Okay, that one's done. The leaf one, I'm gonna knock off a little bit over there, but there's not a whole lot on my sponge, so I'm okay with not blotting it on a paper towel. Okay, those ones are done. Let's move back to the white. So grab your sandpaper. I really should make sure you're well within my, there we go. Okay, let's just repeat. Sponge, guys, there we go. Part is done for a second. Let's Go back to our yellow. And if you want to do any more dry brushing and you have some white left, then you can. And actually, because I have a little bit left in my tray, it doesn't hurt to just go and use that up. So I'm just going to take it and just carefully drag a few more lines on there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to set that one somewhere. Okay, so while the yellow is, you know what, it is pretty much dry. So let's just get this one out of the way. Down. Okay, so let's do, I'm going to let yellow dry for just a little bit longer before I go in there with my orange. So cut this off and I'm going to do, let's do the black one here. So this is cast iron. Now, you'll notice that the fusion colors always come out really easily. That's the ones that pour really nice. Butternut is not. So is, same with pumpkin spice. It's never been a fusion color. I haven't created it just because I needed a specific tone, and sometimes it's hard to mix with what I got. So it is a little thicker, so if you do find that it's too hard to work with, getting it out of the container, just add like a drop of water, drop or two, and shake it, and sometimes that helps if you're having a hard time getting it out of there. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that for a second, and let's start with the orange. I'm just gonna pour that one on here. Okay, so grab your pumpkin spice. Probably way more than you needed, but that is fine. Okay, so we'll start with the one on here. So remember, we're just gonna come down, make sure we go down far enough. There's really not an end to the third bump on this pumpkin, so you're really just worrying about this side here. So that is that part. And then grab your other pieces. Oops. Okay. These two pieces. check the black. It's still a, well, it's just dry, but we're gonna just wing it here. Okay, so one more. We have enough. Okay, so that is done. So I'm just gonna set it there. Okay, so orange will take a moment or two, so we'll let that one dry. And let's grab one of the smaller bits. So maybe, let's do khaki. You're still doing good there. Khaki is the same way. There we go. Khaki will be another one. We will probably do 3 on just because of how it's made. So just still be careful with these words. They're not in a template. They are a bit thicker, but if handled a little bit too vigorously, they could still snap. But you could always tape it to the table so it doesn't move. Okay, so I'll leave those. Just check on these ones. I got a bit too much on that one. Let's go like this. Don't forget this one. So it's covered. I think I might only be needing to do 2. I'll check again here in a minute or 2, but all right, set that one back and let's check on these. So yeah, just gently pull that sandpaper. We don't, just enough to knock down that roughness, but we can do a way better sanding once they're glued in place, if you want to distress them or anything like that. So squeeze this out here. I do love my fusion colors for being able to come out of the container. Hold on guys, I'm just going to grab a toothpick. Okay, so those ones are done. Pumpkins, you know what? I'm thinking I'm just doing 2 today. They look really good. So you can decide if you need 3, but for now mine are looking okay. So I'm gonna skip that. So we only have 2 colors left after the green. We've got our gray for the handle. Okay, so this is pumpkin, so I'm done with that. And Fusion paint just pours right out. All right. Second, check on a green. Oops, I think I got a little gray on there. Let's do one more quick one on the green. It probably doesn't need it, but I have it sitting here, so might as well use it. And I'm not gonna sand them, it should be fine. So yeah, watch that you don't stick your dirty fingers in there like I'm doing. Okay, so those ones are done. Orange is done. Okay, let's finish. Now we'll give it a second. Okay, so we will do the nutmeg, so that's the last 2. And because I was pretty much almost out of this, I decided just to bring my bottle. Okay, this one. Okay, that one's done. Almost done, all of the pieces. Okay, so let's give that one here. Okay, so I'm just gonna come in here and remove my tape. And that's good. Yeah, okay, so let's set that one over here. Just give this a second to dry, so I will be, or not. Like I said, it's warm here today, so even with air conditioning, it dries really fast. So this is another color that could use 3. Depending how even you get it, but as far as I can tell, it'll be fine. I'm gonna do 2 let it dry. I'm just gonna And here, if I feel I need 3, I won't do it on camera, so you have to watch me do it again. So yeah, I'm gonna let these probably dry for me just for a while, and then we'll come back. I'm gonna sand all my pieces before I get on camera, just because you guys know how that works, and then we'll glue it all together. All right, guys, you have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Hi guys, okay, I'm back now to get this last part put together. So what you're gonna need is, you're gonna need to start with your wheelbarrow base, and then this is the handle. Now obviously we can't attach that without gluing it to the other side. So right now what I've done is taken a piece of tape and I've taped it so it's even on the backs, well, even where it's supposed to be, and I used a piece of tape to secure it. And you're going to want to make sure your table is flat, because you want to make sure that this is even. You're not on an unlevel surface. So make sure that is there. And then we're going to grab this piece and we're going to glue it on here. So just lay it over top so you can get an idea where the glue is supposed to go. So we're going to get some down here and into here. You want to be careful not to go down too far here. And then we're going to take it and come up here. So just make sure you're not going past that part there. So I did a combination of, you know, wood glue and my thin needle stuff, just because I didn't want to fill it up with all of my good stuff. And this has a bigger nozzle, so I can kind of fill in the bigger space with a bigger nozzle. And just gonna put some glue there and take my other one and come in here. Whoops, might have to find a pin. Whoops. See, my wood glue, whoops, will dry yellow, so I don't want it so close to the edge. But the white glue is nice because it will dry clear. So, and I haven't had to use this for a while, so it's kind of having. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to bring it down here a little bit, and here. Okay. So now take this piece, like I said, make sure that's all lined up, and it is easier. When I did it the first one, it kept sliding, so that's why I'm taping it, and we'll remove the tape after, but it just helps hold that in place. So kind of get that lined up there. I can see I went past on the glue, but that's okay. I can get that a wipe and give this a press. Make sure those tops really line up well. I wouldn't worry so much about the side. I mean, it kind of angles in a little bit, but just gonna wipe that extra away, and I'm just gonna let it sit for a good 5 minutes before I decide to move it. But definitely make sure, see, when you do it this way and you've taped that handle, you at least know that it's not hasn't moved, because you can't really see it. And the top is covered. So just watch it doesn't keep sliding. Okay. There we go. So I'm just gonna give, so if I run my hand down here, it kind of feels like it's not lined up, but it's definitely lined up here. So don't worry about that, because it's gonna angle anyway. So, and it's not like you see any of the wood really underneath. It's really just like a micro little lip that is there. And oops. And I'm just going to carefully flip it over for a second. It's sat long enough for me. It's only been a minute or so, but I just wanted to double check and make sure that it was all good. So I'm just gonna leave it upside down for a minute, and then I will come back and we will do the other part and we'll take this off. Okay, see you in a second. Okay, so just going to peel this off carefully without moving that. So now your next piece will come in like this. So we're gonna come down. Now this might be, if you want to, you could always take a light pencil and draw a line because you're not really gonna see it, just so you know exactly where some glue would go. I'm trying to see if I have a pencil. Hold on, guys. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so I don't have a pencil. That's fine. I'm just gonna use a pen. So just so you know how far down to glue, I'm just gonna gently, like I'm not even gonna press that hard. I just want a faint line. Oh, I can't even see that. Hold on a sec. It gives me an idea where that is. Okay, so I just drew a faint line. So I'm gonna come down here and add some glue. So too, at this crease, I know I put some glue in there just to help hold that and fill in that seam. See, it's easier to put the glue on here than it is just to glue that full back, because we really don't want any extra glue in the back side of that, because it might make it difficult to stick that insert in. So, all right, so let's just line that up again. Give it a press. Okay, so it should feel even around that little bit and on the top there, and then everything else will be just how it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna give that a few minutes to set, and then I can flip it over and we can deal with gluing the handle. And if you hadn't sanded this and checked to make sure it fit in the slot, I had to do a little bit more on mine after I stained it, but you're not going too far down to do it. So, it's easier to do it before you get the tire on in the front. That way you can get your sandpaper in there. So I'll be back in a minute. I'm just gonna let that solid up, and we'll go further. Okay, thanks, bye. Okay, I set that off to the side enough so that I can work on this. So I've sanded all of my pieces, and I've just kind of laid them out here. So when you're sanding, I like to have some definition between, you know, so you can see the edges. So I've just worn away the edges on my pieces, so when they're layered you can kind of see that. So yeah, so we're just gonna get started by gluing them into place. I'm not gonna glue these ones in until I know these ones. I kind of do it all at the same time because I want them to fit nice. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to tell you one thing. So, and I know I have to go back and do it. So you're gonna have to go get a little tiny Q-tip just to add some stain on there, because I forgot when she does hers and offsets it, I can see a little bit of this edge and it's raw, and I don't want that to be seen. So I'm just gonna dab a little bit of stain just on those little bits. So let me go grab my Q-tip and I'll be right back. Okay, so you don't even have to wait for it to dry when we glue these on. You just really need to take it and just rub it on the edge here. Not much, just in that area there. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna glue these ones together first. And these I will tend to use a little bit of the bigger bottle glue. Okay. So it's kind of slightly fatter at the bottom, a little bit, like it's not quite as defined. So that for me is the bottom. That's how I'm gonna do it. And just set it on and give it a squish. It'll probably slide around. And we're just gonna let it sit and dry. Just keeping an eye on it that it hasn't slid again. And same thing here. I feel like one side is just a little bit wider at the bottom. Might be just me, but that's how I see it. So I'm lining them up at the bottom with that curve, and then just centering that oval in the stem part. Okay, and then we're just gonna let that sit and dry. Just check this one. Okay, I'm gonna give those a minute to dry as well, and then I will be right back. Okay, so those are dry for me. So now we can start getting this all laid out. And this should be dry, so I'm just gonna sand a little bit. Okay, so now you can see the line, the score marks to line it up. I find hers don't indent as much as some, so you're pretty much gonna probably see it right at the edge of the design. So just grab all of your pieces so you can kind of get an idea how they're all gonna fit together and what you're gonna see for lines. You might have to, so this one in here you kind of have to, you would have to center between the two, otherwise if you hug one more than the other then you might have a bit of a gap on one side and so forth. Okay, so just pick one. I'm going to start with the white one, and I'm going to leave all my pieces on as I go. So I want to make sure everything kind of goes together. Okay. That one to press. I'm sticking that one in there, making sure I like how that one fits. This one, see, I can still see a little bit at the bottom of that line. Okay, that's fine. This one will fit. See, this is the one that bugged me before, so let me see if I can make it fit a little bit better. I might have to twist this one. There we go, maybe. Okay, so I shifted that one a little bit better, which makes me I'm not so much worried about the ones at the bottom because you're not going to see them quite as much. I'm just trying to hide that line the best as I can at the top. Okay, I think, oops, this one's good, I can see it. Okay, I'm just going to give this one a minute to dry. Make sure I don't keep moving it. Okay, I'm going to gently bring this one up. So if you're trying to do these while they still are a little wet, just watch how you're moving it. So I've got a little bit of a gap, and that's fine because it's just evenly spaced around it. Because then that hides that line a bit better. Okay, and carefully pull this one out, as long as I didn't move that. Hold on, did I do that? I don't think so. I think it's, yeah. Okay. Actually, I think I'm going to use this one. Keep getting black stuff a little bit from the edges, so you can easily just wipe that off, but okay, so while you're doing that one, make sure this one is in there. Now I noticed when she does this one, it's got a weird, if I want to angle it properly, it's not quite as perfect as I would like, but just gonna make it work. Just got to turn them so they fit like a puzzle. Now the white one is set where I want it, so I'm good there, and I know the orange one will be fine. Okay, I'm just going to give that a second. We'll do our lines after these are all dry. I didn't send a brown with you because I have some brown stripes, but any brown paint, because really you're just dipping it in and going like that. By the time I sent you any brown, it would have been dry. So I figured you have some sort of brown, whether it's from stuff that I've sent you or any brown. If you've got a brown paint pen or a black paint pen, you really can just do whatever for the 6 little lines I did on the white. So I figured, or you can leave it off altogether. So I'm going to give that one a few extra minutes because the wood glue just takes a little longer to dry. So I'll come back in a second when I can move this, and we will finish up the wheelbarrow first, and then we will finish up with this. Okay, so see you in a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to set this one off to the side carefully, just in case there is still some movement with the glue, and I'm going to bring this one back. So I'm going to start with the tire wheel, or oops. Okay, so I get a little on there, but remember, if you haven't made sure this fits into your slot, now is the time to do it before you glue this on, because it just makes it a little bit more difficult. And before I do that, I thought I sanded this area. Just gonna get in there. Okay. So place that. Make sure the flat part is definitely even with the flat, like it's not gonna match, you're just gonna make sure it's not twisted because it won't sit level in the stand. So make sure it's even. I'm just gonna put a little glue in the inside. And then I'm going to set this one in. And then just watch that your wheel hasn't moved. Okay. Just going to give that a moment and just try if you push too hard on one side, you might have a bigger gap. So try and get an evenness around the wheel so it looks a bit more centered. And then next we will do the handle on there. Now there is a gap under there, so if you feel like you have to push down, I would just set one of your pieces underneath there, just so it doesn't slide on you. For me, it's not going to matter. I worked at the store better, but okay, so let that one dry. And this part is done. We won't be gluing these in because we will push those in after we get our insert in. Otherwise, if you push them in first, then your insert doesn't go in there at all, or not all the way down. So I'm just gonna set this one off to the side, somewhere flat so it doesn't slide. Okay. Now this one. So this is where, I haven't sanded these yet because I want them to be on here first before I do. So just take, not this one, just take something with a thin tip, but if you can't, then just blot it off on a piece of paper towel. I'm just going in the thicker parts first. And then I might just take my wet tip here and just catch some of those other small areas. Okay. This one's a little harder to see without getting my face right in there. So look at it from both sides, making sure you don't see that score mark. I think I went in and I changed that. I inset it a little bit more so it wouldn't be quite as hard to hide. Okay. Okay, outside looks good. Oh, I can see a little bit there. Got a little bit sliding. Okay, I think that one's fine. So I'm just going to set that off to the side. And I'm going to bring this back. And we should be good to go and do our lines first, because we're going to want to do these ones first, and then we can bring in these guys and do that. But I want you to put this in first so you can see what it looks like, because we're gonna have to make sure that we don't put these pieces down below that line too. So actually, no, maybe we will glue these on first. Okay, so I haven't put this in the stand yet. I just want you to fit this in here. You gotta wiggle it because that angle is kind of funny, so you gotta kind of wiggle it so you get it in there. You're gonna still see this gap here, that's fine, and that's where these leaves are gonna come in, and we're gonna hide some of that. So that one would go there. We'll bring this, as long as we don't go down past this, you'll be fine. So we got the yellow one there. We'll do the green one in here. We've got the orange one's gonna sit above that. And then we've got the yellow one coming off like that. So it's not quite as noticeable once you get those leaves laid out. So if you're careful, you can leave it in there when we are gluing. Just know that you don't want to get too crazy in case a little bit seeps down. And we're not gluing the whole back, we're only doing bits and pieces on some of them. So just kind of be aware where this one is placed and how much is going to need to be done. So that one's going to sit there. This one you can do, you pretty much can do the whole back of this one. Stem not so much. Okay, so lay that one there. So I'm using the top of the wheelbarrow as my guide. And then the green one, same thing. Can do most of the back here. Same thing, I'm using the wheelbarrow as my stop line. So I don't go down further than that. This one, just gonna angle this in there like that. Now I'm using that edge too, but it's going to be raised a level because it's going to sit in front of this pumpkin. So how do I want it? There we go. And this yellow one we will put over here. So just watch that you don't glue it to the handle, so just do half of it. Set it in here. And then if you're careful, in a minute or two, just gently pull this out. And try and leave it flat there, and we'll let them dry, and then we'll come back and we will do the details on there. If you don't want any details, that's fine, you're done then, except for your base. I didn't glue mine together yet, so you can add some glue, but it's always easier to put some glue on the back and then set this in here. Actually, let's do that while we're waiting on this. Okay, so let's just set that there. Okay. So you want to make sure, so there's a big side and a small side. So the small side, obviously for that part, and the other side is for the wheels. So find if you get this side tipped too much before you get this one, it might not line it up all the way. Okay. table is not even. Here we go. Okay, so did I get that down enough? Well, I thought I had, but all right, so even I gotta sand again. I did do it, but I'm just gonna run it on the back or the front, and then the back will probably be the easiest for you to sand if you still don't think you did enough. But sometimes too, even though the thickness might change, it also sometimes has a little bit of a curve or bow to the wood, so that doesn't help either. So just worry about the one piece right now, because that's the one it's really gonna fit into. Here we go. Okay. So this one really isn't gonna go all the way down, even though it looks like it does. Hold on. Even mine was being finicky. Okay, hold on guys. I gotta pull on this. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna get the gritty stuff out. Hold on, where's my gritty sandpaper? Okay, so if you have the gritty stuff, just use that one. If you have an electric sander, you can do that. So I did do this before we started, but you know, even the staining of the wood can raise that grain a little bit, so you just got to go with it. There we go, that's better. See, it didn't take much, but okay, so now it should go through just a smidgen now that I got it right, which is nice to keep it like that, so when we glue them, then you'll know that they'll fit in there in the slots below, because it's kind of hard to guess sometimes where they are. So I'm gonna leave these in here, and I'm gonna run my glue with them in there. Okay, so I'm gonna take it and go this way because I can line it up a whole lot better. Okay, that one's lined up. This one I can push on a little bit more. So I have a line in the middle of my table, so I'm just gonna slide it off to the edge. So push on those. If you feel like there's any bit of a bow in the base, you can take some clamps and clamp them together. But if you leave this in here, it'll help keep those from moving and sliding as they dry. So mine seem to be okay, but not sure how yours will be. Sometimes it will just bow a little bit. All right, so we're gonna set that off to the side. Let that dry, and then we're going to come back over here and do this because these should be dry by now. Okay, so now we're just going to put in our accent lines. So now I need to get my white paint. Hold on, I gotta go find it. Okay, so I grabbed some water because I like to wet the tip of my brush and just kind of reform it if it's been sitting around for a while. And sometimes as you're doing it, the tip gets a little gross after a bit, so I like to just clean it up. So now I'm just gonna go in and work on the color bits. The ones that are white, I'll go and find a brown here and we'll do that. So all I did, you know, nothing fancy. I just did some simple line and yeah, if you want to use a paint pen, you can. I'm just going to use my brush. And do some lines. I'm going to start with my pumpkins first. I find as I get going, my brush gets a little wider. It makes a wider stroke, so cleaning it up a little bit, I find helps. Do stems. Okay, I did the pumpkins, and we can do the leaves. So I just come in here and kind of some squiggles around the curve. Okay, so that's those ones, and then I gotta go find my brown. So let's go mix that out. Fix that. Okay. Oops, I see one I missed. I knew I would miss one. Okay, hold on. Let's go in here. And I'm just gonna grab a brown. I'm just using oakum. You can use any brown if you got it, of any kind. I'm just using them for some lines. Okay, I think I got them all. You can do some on the words if you want. I didn't. I still haven't decided if I want to. I still think I should, but I haven't done it yet. Sometimes I like it on there, and then sometimes I feel like it just takes over the words. So I haven't decided, but I know I haven't sanded them, so I'm going to come in here and carefully wear some of my edges away. Kind of need to do that so it'll just stick out a little bit more off from the stain. Okay. Okay, so that's there. Now I'm going to carefully tip this over because it's going to be really hard for you to see me do this. Okay, hold on. I'm going to set it up and I'm going to carefully grab this because I know I have some wet spots still. So I'm just going to set this piece in here carefully. Okay, so I've got that lined up because I want to show you those tab pieces. Okay, so I'm going to set this like this. Okay, I have that's that height. Okay, that'll work. So just doing that so you can kind of see. Now, the same thing or with these, because I cut the slot the same width I think the wood is supposed to be till they decide to change it ever so slightly. So if they don't fit in quite as easily like the bottom we had to sand, then just sand a little bit on both sides, and then you can push them in here. When you're pushing them in, you're only going through this one layer of wood because you're going to bump into the back of this, so that's why you can't push them in sooner, because you don't want to go too far and then this piece doesn't fit in. So just wiggle them till you think you've hit this one. I didn't, well, I did sand, but I feel like I need to, oh yeah. You end up wearing off most of the stain. You know, you still have a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay, don't move. Okay, so there, and then this will just hang off like that. Oops, see, this one looks so, this one probably needs to go in a little bit more. Oh, I think we're good. Okay, just like that, and it's done. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that one. This was an interchangeable by this designer, but I don't like any of the other designs she has done from this, so I won't be doing them. And I figured this is just a cute little fall display you could put at your front entryway, or you know, part as your fall display. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you guys back for September's. All right, thanks guys, bye.